Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Sock Talks with Joy and Sean. We're glad to have you here on this almost end of September already. It's like hard to believe already. And so, hey, Sean, what's going on down there in Florida?
Waiting on Helene to pass us
Helene?
by about 4 or 5 o'clock. So
Yeah,
she's going to brush Tampa Bay and head up
yeah.
north. So, yep.
Yeah, well, be safe, be safe.
Thank you.
But we're really excited today. We have a guest on with us here today, Tracy Gates. Sharon, Sean's going to introduce her, and we're going to have a good time because Sean couldn't stop talking about Tracy. He said, "We have to get her on. We have to get her on." I had to change all my plans today to do the recording now.
Oh,
Just to
fine.
get this on there.
Oh my God, I hope I can
So,
live up to that.
No pressure,
but
Tracy.
that's how important it is today. So, Sean, I'll let you take care of things, and Tracy, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was invited to a kindness circle. It was a couple weeks ago. They meet once a month, and Tracy was the guest speaker. She spoke for about 10 minutes. And as soon as she started speaking, I think my jaw dropped because I'm like, she's talking about writing handwritten letters to people that you care about or the people that come into your life every single day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's talking to the choir. So, and we just happened to be in the first breakout session room. So we kind of had a bit time to chat. And then we did a one-to-one, I think the next day that quick. So she has a book. I got it yesterday. So
Oh, nice.
the
And
power of a few kind words. And I'm just going to read her intro that's on the back. So I love this. Tracy is a kindness ambassador, a life and wellness coach, and a speaker. She was featured in Maria Shriver's Sunday paper. Tracy has presented her workshop, A Few Kind Words, the power of writing unexpected letters of appreciation to audiences across the country. Her family, friends, pets, chai latte, and gardening are her delights. And Tracy lives in New Jersey. So, Tracy, welcome to the Sock Talks with us. So, my first question, which you already know the answer, give us the backstory of how the book happened.
well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me, and it's nice to meet you, Joy.
Likewise.
To your fellow kindness ambassadors, and we need more of you in this world. So it's nice to meet you. So I challenged myself to write a handwritten, unexpected letter of appreciation to a different person every day for 1 year. And kind of a crazy challenge. And I did that because I found myself in a just kind of a glass half empty period of time in my life, which is not really how I think I view myself. I had a little stressful work situation. I was caring for my aging mother, and I developed an autoimmune disease. And I believe it was stress induced. And with all that negative news out there, I just thought I need if stress can cause our body mentally and physically to decline, what would happen if I put a daily dose of kindness on my to-do list? So I just decided to write a letter of appreciation to somebody every day, 365 letters, and I've written many more since. But I will tell you that it was transformational in my life. It tipped the scales back towards positivity. And there were just so many benefits, and of which you both know about all the time. But I physically felt better. I found myself calming down and slowing down and lingering and engaging with people. And I just, to me, the most important thing in our lives are our relationships. And I just found that I was focusing on my relationships in a way that I hadn't been for a long time. And I was much more present, and I was asking questions, and I was lingering. I love that word linger. And just stay a little bit longer and ask somebody something, an open-ended question, and actually listen for the answer. And, we can find so much to appreciate about people. And then I just, would write a card, a 5x7 folded over note card. I'd write on the top and the bottom, and I'd mail it off. And I just found that most importantly, I liked myself better. I really liked who I was being. And I just felt like I was giving back to this world what it needed. So, and there's a whole genesis around honoring my dad. He's the one who always asked for a few kind words. Whenever we said, "What do you want for your birthday or Christmas?" He said, "The only thing I want is a few kind words." And we hated that, right? Because how do you wrap that up? And so we gave him a tie, and I gave him a puppy 1 year, and that kind of stuff. But he died unexpectedly when I was 24. He had a heart attack on the tennis court a month after I got engaged. And he never got to walk me down the aisle, and I never got to give him a few kind words. And so it wasn't until I became a life and wellness coach 30 years later that I really embraced that that's my dad's love language, and it's mine as well. And so this book really is a legacy of love to my dad, and it's reconnected me with him. And that's one of the joys of writing these letters. My last letter was to my dad 33 years and 9 days after he passed away. And I think we can write to everybody and anybody in our life, current or who has passed away.
Wow.
I like that. So tell the audience, what percentage did you hear? Because you tracked it. So what percentage of people responded to you? And then share the story that you saw the woman a couple months later.
Sure. So, well, first I want to
I
say
feel
that
like I have the cheat code to a test. It's
I
great.
know.
I know. Yeah, you do. You do.
And
Joy
then I'll
doesn't
be
know what
quiet.
That's okay. I
Joy
have a
doesn't know what you're
question
talking
too.
about. Well, first of all, before I answer your question, I want to say that I think for any time that any of us write these letters, we should be doing it with no expectation to hear back from the person, right? We're doing this because it feels beautiful and authentic and genuine for us. However, although I expected not to hear back from people, I did hear back from hundreds of people, and I did keep track of it just as a part of an exercise for me. And I heard back from 67% of my recipients.
Wow.
And through phone calls, in person, handwritten letters, texts, emails, and I heard over 150 times the exact same words, "You made my day."
Mhm.
And I'm sure you both have heard that many
Yeah.
times. It doesn't take a lot. We're so much more powerful than we think. It doesn't take a lot to make somebody's day. But I think that what you're referencing, Sean, was that I wrote to a woman who I don't know well, but she is a therapist in town. We overlap a little bit in our work, and I just enjoy who she is as a person and how I know her as a professional. And so I wrote her one of my notes, and and I never heard back from her. Again, no expectation to, that's fine. But I saw her at a party a couple of months later, and she came up to me and she said, I was overwhelmed by your letter. And she said, I want you to know that. And then she reached into her purse. She took out her wallet. She said, I've been carrying your letter
Oh my
in
God.
my wallet ever since you wrote it to me. And she said, it reminds me, it validates what I do every day. And so, I didn't know if my letter was going to be impactful or not. I just wanted her to know I thought she was a pretty terrific person.
Yeah.
And I just don't think you carry something in your wallet unless it's pretty meaningful. So we rarely do we know how our letter might touch somebody. It might be just what they need at that moment.
Wow. You're going to have to need to come to our convention. Going to have to need, isn't that like good words? I could just see, your stories are so, they're perfect, and can I ask a question on the book? I can't wait to get the book. I have to go see it. And I want to think, when I saw the title of that, it's like, I think I've seen that somewhere. Is your book at airports or anything like that?
Oh, not that I know of, but I sure wish it would be.
I mean, it's not like I go to Barnes and Noble that often because you can do things online, and plus, it's and that type of thing. But it's like, oh my gosh, I've seen that book somewhere before.
Oh, well, I
Um,
hope there's not another one just like that.
no,
But
no, I'm sure it's all yours. But is your book just totally built around the letters sent and the comments back, or did you build something else around with the book? Is the book generally
so
different?
I say that the book is part memoir, part self-help, and a heaping dose of positivity.
Okay.
So so the book is formulated around this story about my dad as sort of the foundation of it, and that he is really why I started this journey of writing a letter a day. And then I just go into sort of all the lessons that I learned on this year long what I call my intentional kindness practice.
Hmm.
It's very different from random acts of kindness, which I think we all love, and I hope everyone does that.
Hmm.
But when you do intentional kindness, it means you have to become proactive. You have to be very deliberate, and
Hmm.
it's not always easy and it's not always convenient. But as you both know, it is always impactful.
Hmm.
So throughout the book, I tell different stories, like the one I just told, but I have some other ones that are, kind of tear jerkers and really fun. That I tell stories and I give action steps at the end of each chapter of how people can try to
Very nice.
incorporate this into your own life.
Nice. Perfect. Perfect. Well, I just can't wait to get one. I just
Thank
love
you.
it. It sounds awesome, and you're right because you said right at the very beginning, we don't do what we do, you don't do what you do if you're waiting for a purpose, or you're waiting to hear back from them.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that so many people feel that way sometimes, that, in our, it's like, well, I
That's
never
right.
heard back, I'm going to stop doing it again, which is crazy,
It's so crazy.
and you've said it here, the more you do it, the better you feel too. I mean, and it's just like I tell people all the time, it's not even the icing on the cake. It's like the cherry on top if you hear from somebody. You made the,
Yes.
you just baked your cake by taking the time to reach out to somebody. The icing was that they smiled or maybe even sent
Yeah.
something back to you. But when they carry it with them or they don't say something right away, and then all of a sudden it shows up and they say something to you, you know, it's
Yeah.
it's just like
I think
three
there's,
times you're feeling good.
yeah, I mean, I just like to, to remind everybody that it is so empowering to be part of the greater good, and we all have a choice every day of how we're going to show up for ourselves. And when we can just show up by knowing that we are sending something out into this world, handwritten or digital, something that is going to make somebody uh, feel gratified, feel good about themselves. That means you can put your head on the pillow at the end of the night and know that you have done something to further the good in humanity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm sure Sean shared with you the journals that we have in promptings now, which has turned, I mean, we're in the process of doing all this, but journaling it and actually writing down those goods each day, each morning, and the gratitudes makes a difference too. You know,
It sure
it
does.
it's
It gets
crazy.
your day off on the right foot.
Absolutely. Absolutely gets everything off in the right foot. It's just awesome. So and you're in New Jersey, so do you travel around? Do you have speaking engagements?
I do. I've
Yeah.
had the pleasure of going many different places, and it's truly the greatest joy of my life to know that I can leave people feeling usually more uplifted than when they arrived, and to just talk about something positive because I've stopped watching the news. I try not to look look at my phone too much because it's too debilitating. So it's been really wonderful. I've talked to schools, I've talked to businesses, lots of private homes and nonprofits, and people just gather their friends together, and
Mhm.
it's an uplifting talk. And I'm if you're in Florida, Sean, and Joy, where are you?
I'm in Pennsylvania, around Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
We're not too
Yeah, I
far.
mean it's great fun for me to travel and meet different people and share my message.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know I belong to several different groups, and we're always looking for women specifically, inspirational speakers. And
Mhm.
that's why I asked if you did that because we have an event that usually somehow I'm always on the committee, but looking for speakers. So I would love to bring you into the hat with that one of these days on one of the opportunities. So
I'd love to, on
yeah.
Zoom or in person. It's great fun. And I will say that thanks to Sean, I bought the sampler and I sent my grandsons cards, and I got just the most heartwarming photo of them back holding up their cards that they got.
Yep.
And I know that
Perfect.
they both have them next to their bed now, and it's just great. And I'm hoping my husband gets his today that I sent him.
Yeah, yeah. Sean, you didn't send her the frame so they could be framed too?
No, she sent her grandson's cards.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
well,
So we did a
see.
walkthrough, and then
Yep.
she bought the sampler pack and sent she because she appreciated the pictures you could do with it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
So
absolutely,
love
I do
that.
have a
absolutely.
I have a question, Tracy. The last
Yep.
letter that you wrote to your dad, and I
Mhm.
love you can, you know, especially if some there may be some closure, not that you had, but some people that have some closure issues with people that have passed on. What did you do with that letter? Do you keep it? What did you do with that one?
Yeah, so that was the last letter that I wrote on my year-long journey, and I then and I was worried about writing that. I didn't know what it would be like to write to somebody who passed away 33 years and 9 days before, and but I kind of felt like he was with me on this journey. So it ended up, I got a box of Kleenex, I got the picture of him,
I
next
saw,
to
yeah,
me, and it ended up being a very joyful experience for me to write to him. And I actually have the letter in the book.
okay,
But I then went out. We're lucky enough to have some conservation land behind our house, and there's a lake back there. And so I just went out by myself. I looked around to make sure nobody was coming to see a crazy lady reading a letter to nobody. And then I read the letter out loud.
Very
And
cool.
as
okay,
I said on my other talk, you're going to have to read the book to find out what
right.
happened. But I had
Yeah, you can leave us hanging there.
I'm going to leave you hanging.
I'll find out.
But I had a very for me an experience that is locked in my heart forever.
Oh, sure.
And I everyone's going to have their own experience, but it was a very joyful experience for me. I felt like I actually communicated with my dad, and now I just have the letter saved in my special box. So, but I tell people, everyone has to do whatever feels best for them. And, if this speaks to them, maybe you read it to another family member who also loved that person. Maybe you write it and you seal it and hold it to your heart and then you put it away and you never look at it again.
Mhm, mhm.
Whatever feels right for you. But that was my experience.
If
And
you, if, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sean.
no, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tracy.
If somebody came to you and said, wow, I really like doing something like that, how do I start? What do I start with? What made you start? I mean, what advice can you give them?
Sure. Well, first of all, I have there are a few people on this my journey since I have finished doing writing a letter a day for a year who have actually are doing it and they're in their year-long journey. I am not for a minute expecting that that's what people are going to do. What I really want to encourage people to try is to certainly write one letter, but to try to write to commit for a week. Because for me, I want people to understand the energy shift that you can feel. And if you do it each day for a week and you very deliberately have to think about or notice who you're interacting with and who you're going to choose to write, it brings you into the present moment. It
Mhm,
becomes kind of a mindfulness situation. And then, some people have said to me that they're more uncomfortable writing to somebody very close to them because they feel like they have to get a little more vulnerable.
mhm,
And so if you are one of those people, then I would say then start with somebody who you don't know well, but you appreciate.
mhm,
And I don't think we have time for me to tell some other stories today, but I will just say that some of my really fun stories happened with the barista who made me the best chai latte ever, the woman who ran the jury room at our Mercer County courthouse. Somebody I didn't know, but I had a positive experience with, and I left feeling better than when I arrived. And so I wrote to them, or write to your mailman. I write to my mailman who gave our dog a dog bone every day. Somebody who you like, but it's safer to kind of not
mhm.
have to bare your
Right.
soul.
Okay,
And
good
start with
advice.
that. And also, it's a really powerful thing to do with your book group, your family around the dinner table, your colleagues at work. If you said, let's all commit to writing a letter a day for a week, and then at the dinner table, you say, okay, who are you writing to today, or what did it feel like? And it generates, some really healthy, positive conversation.
Mhm. Nice,
And,
nice.
or just try one,
Mhm.
if it's intimidating. And I always say, just start right out. I start with, I was thinking about you today, and I want you to know how much I appreciate what a great listener you are, or whatever it is. Forget the 5 paragraph essay. This is just get
Yeah.
right to the point.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't
Yeah, you're
have
And
to
if
right.
be
it's
long.
authentic,
It's just the
yeah,
message.
it's
And,
just
and Sean and I go through this with our company when people are sending cards and we come to talk to people and say, well, I like to handwrite my own cards. I said, well, okay, that's fine. We love that. Great. Are you doing as many as you want to? and it kind of stops them a little bit. So that's kind of like where we go with it. But we have a lot of people that they think they have to like think through this long message and
That's
it's
right.
going to make that. I said, you know what? If you just wrote, hello, I was thinking about you. I appreciate you. Love Tracy and send it off to them, it's going to have more of an
Yeah,
impact than you sitting there and writing a book. You don't need to do that. It's the action.
exactly.
It's the action. It's the message. It's the time. It's the appreciation.
Yeah.
People.
Tracy, what's the Maya Angelou quote?
Uh, people people won't remember what you did or how you made them. Oh my gosh, I say it every time. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will
Mhm.
never forget how you made them
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
Um,
And I thought
and
she goes, my one of my favorite quotes, and I thought in her speech when we first met, she was gonna I said, she says this, man. But and then she said, yep, it's I always say that one at the end, but they didn't give me enough time.
I did. I
But
say
it's
it. It's in my book, and I say it at the end of every one of my talks. But
Yeah.
I was given 10 minutes, and I had to cut something out. But it's so true, right? I mean, uh, you cannot receive a letter where somebody says something nice about you or says something about you and not smile from the inside out.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
just, I think it's almost
100%.
an impossibility. And, I say different, a little different from what you all do. And I love your mission, but I say grab any piece of paper that you have. You can write this on a post-it note on the back of your receipt, your company letterhead, your monogram stationery, um, or of course, go to your company and send out cards. But it's not. Don't overthink it. Like I love to put a sticky note on the ice cream of your partner. Your partner's favorite ice cream in the freezer, and leave it on there. Hide it on someone's pillow. Put it on the rear view mirror in a car. Just let people know that you see them.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mission, my vision really is to let people everywhere know that they matter, which I really believe is totally in alignment with your mission as
Absolutely.
well. And
100%. 100%.
so it gets me thinking how because you had never heard of promptings, I
mhm,
had not heard of your book, and how many of others are out there on the same mission where we need to bring us all together. We kind of talked about there is kindness and gratitude out there in abundance, but we don't yell about it. We don't scream about it like the negativity. So it's maybe just we're on that mission and we're all going to run into each other and it's not by coincidence and we'll have a greater
yeah,
mission that it's going to impact millions.
Yeah.
millions. And boy, does this world need a heavy dose of kindness.
Right now, yes, big
Yes.
time. Big time. I
And
just saw something on our news station the other day. They have a little moment of a kindness moment. And it was this group of women and they get gift cards like Target gift cards. And they'll write a little note on there like, hey, I appreciate you or something, yes, something on those lines of this appreciation. And they're taking these cards and they're going into the retail stores by the diapers by and that kind of an area and they're sticking them like in between the places on the counter or if they
oh,
can get it underneath the wrapper a little bit so it's sticking out of that package of diapers and they're just leaving
wow.
that for people like
Oh,
isn't it awesome. I told my I said, I just gotta go do this. you know
that is so beautiful. I
yeah,
love
isn't
it.
that beautiful? Yeah, yeah. And I just, and when I see these things and listening to you and meeting you here to do too, Tracy, it's like we're 100% right. If more people, more of us do this kind of thing in this world, things are going to turn around to the better. And when people turn around, they say, well, no, I won't matter. My little bit won't. Yeah,
Yeah,
it will. But think of it this way. It did matter to the person that got it. It did matter to that person that got it. And now
absolutely.
that's one more person in this world that's having a happier day,
Yeah.
you know? So,
I love it. Do we have one more minute here?
sure.
Absolutely.
I can't remember if I told you this or not, Sean, but um, my birthday was in August, but I got up in the morning and I thought I just need to do something kind for somebody today for my birthday. That's how I want to do it. And so I went and I picked some flowers from my garden, put them in a little simple vase, and I wrote a note. And on the cover it said, to whoever finds this. And I just wrote inside, hello, beautiful. Just want you to know that you're enough. I don't know. I said some nice things, and I said if this, I hope you enjoy these flowers, and if this speaks to you, then please pay it forward in whatever way is right for you. Just want you to know that you're terrific or something.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
I put it. I went to a park bench in Princeton, New Jersey, right near where I live. And because I love chai latte, there is a perfect little store that has my favorite chai latte nearby. And I could see this park bench. And I sat there with my husband and my best friend. And I wanted to see who would get this. I just wanted to experience maybe that I could give them some joy. And it was absolutely blew my mind. The first people who found it was a couple, a young couple. And the woman sat down on the bench. She opened up the card. She read it. She handed it to her partner. He read it. She took it back. She read it again. Then she took out her phone. She took a selfie of herself with it. Then she took a picture of just the card. Then she put it back in the envelope and she left it and walked away.
Yes, for somebody
Paying it
else.
forward.
And I just was, I just assumed she would take the flowers. And then a 10-year-old boy came by with his mother and grandmother. He took the letter out. He read it. He showed it to his grandmother and his mother. He then took out his phone. He took a selfie with it. He put it back and left it again. And then maybe 25-year-old guy came by and he sat with it in his hand for 10 minutes. And he kept reading it and reading it, took out his phone, took a picture, put it back in the envelope and left it again. And then we left. But I was just.
So you impacted many people, not just one person.
I just thought this
Yeah.
is the gift that keeps on giving. And
Right.
I thought, hopefully all these people needed that message
Yeah,
and they wanted to leave it for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so we just have so much more ability to alter the energy in the day.
I just love that. I just might have to do that. That just
Well,
sounds like a lot of
try
fun.
And stock the park bench.
Yeah, the stalking wasn't really great, but I
But
just.
at least you didn't be like, hey, what'd you think? And put a camera in front of their face. That's not the whole meaning behind it. So
Yeah, that's like
And
when
I
I
did
go through
drive
drive-through.
I drove by the next.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I drove by the next day just to see if maybe there's some dead flowers still sitting there, like what happened, and it was gone.
it was
So
going,
I don't
okay.
know.
So somebody finally took it and
Someone
maybe,
took it.
Somebody finally needs something to decorate their apartment. That's like I go through drive-through sometimes and I'll buy somebody's food behind them,
Yeah.
but I want to go away.
That's
I drive away real slow because I love to look back at the moment that they're being told like, hey,
Right.
and I'm just driving away with a smile the whole time,
I know. It is truly joyful to meet both of you and to just know that we're in community with one another, doing our best to try to make the world a little bit of a kinder place.
You got
And then
it.
Tracy, let everybody know where they can get your book.
Yes.
So it is available on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com.
Okay.
The Power of a Few Kind Words, create a more meaningful life one letter at a time. And if I can come and speak or share my message with any groups that you know of or your audience does, it would be my privilege and pleasure.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
Thank you
much,
for your
Tracy.
time.
Yes, very much
It's
so.
my pleasure. And thank you for all the good that you both are doing in this world.
You
you.
got it. Thanks a bunch.
You
See
too.
everybody. See you next week.